Hi, I am Luna, your partner for today's journey. As I walk you through a day as a samurai in early 18th century Japan, let the world around soften. Let each breath settle as dawn mist settles across quiet fields. Tonight is a journey into a calm, disciplined world where each moment holds gentle purpose. During the Edo period, under the Tokugawa shogunate, the land rests in relative peace. In a small castle town surrounded by low hills and winding rivers, a young samurai prepares to step into another day with quiet resolve. His name is Haruto. Born into a family that has served their daimyo across generations, he lives in a small wooden house with a tiled roof and a narrow garden where plum trees bloom softly in spring. The world he inhabits is shaped by layered sounds of wooden sandals on earth, quiet greetings, and the distant toll of temple bells guiding each sunrise. This is not a story of war, nor conquest, nor loud declarations of valor. It is a day lived in the rhythm of quiet training, tending gardens, serving a lord with sincerity, and returning home to the glow of lantern light and the hush of evening rain. A day carried on the soft breath of dawn air, on the careful placement of each step, on the quiet promise to live with discipline and grace. In the darkness before dawn, the world holds a soft hush. The air is cool, damp with the night's lingering mist, carrying the faint scent of pine and earth. Inside a small room, tatami mats rest under calm feet, straw scent grounding in the dark. A folded gray kimono waits near a small wooden stand where a practiced sword, polished and worn, rests beside it, ready for the day. Outside, the rooster's call breaks softly, then fades. A quiet river murmurs beyond the village, weaving its way through low fields hidden under mist. In the corner of the room, Haruto kneels, hands resting lightly on his thighs, breath even, eyes half lowered in soft focus. Around him, the silence is unbroken except for the distant temple bell calling once, low and steady, reminding all within earshot to return to breath, to presence, to readiness. The mind settles on the coming hours, the training in the courtyard as the mist lifts, the soft greetings of elders passing on the narrow street, the tasks waiting in the compound, each completed with patience. Another temple bell rings, further away this time, its echo rolling across rooftops and into the valleys, reminding the village of the morning's quiet promise. In the small kitchen, steam rises from a clay pot of rice, warm and gentle, carrying the earthy scent of grain soft in water. A bowl of miso sits nearby, ribbons of steam curling into the morning air, carrying hints of seaweed and mild salt. On a low table, pickled vegetables rest in a small dish, colors soft in the thin light slipping through the sliding door. Haruto kneels beside the table, lifting the bowl with steady hands, feeling its warmth seep into his palms. The world remains quiet outside as each bite is taken with unhurried calm, each sip followed by a soft exhale, the warmth filling the chest, anchoring the mind in the simplicity of the moment. A sparrow chirps outside, then falls silent. The river continues its slow movement, unnoticed but always present. There is no rush. The day waits with quiet certainty. The meal finished, the bowl is set down, the scent of rice lingering in the room, a reminder of small comforts in a life guided by quiet discipline. Haruto ties the black sash around his gray kimono, smoothing it down with a palm before reaching for the wooden sword resting nearby. The soft thud of sandals on wood carries through the small home as he steps toward the door, sliding it open to meet the dawn air. Outside, the mist lifts slowly, revealing the gentle slopes of the hills, the pines standing tall and dark against the softening sky. Another temple bell rings, a final reminder that the day has begun, a call to the quiet, steady commitment that shapes a samurai's path. In the home's small kitchen, a thin stream of smoke rises from a clay stove, carrying the scent of warming rice and faint traces of tea leaves steeping in water. In the courtyard, a figure stands as still as a cedar in early fog. Haruto's father, robe tied with practiced precision, hair streaked with gray, eyes closed in quiet reflection, breath measured, presence calm. For many seasons, he has stood like this before dawn, letting the mist collect on his shoulders while the morning air sharpens the senses without urgency. His posture is neither rigid nor slack, but held in gentle readiness, embodying a life shaped by small choices and quiet persistence. A soft breeze moves through the small plum tree in the yard, its leaves whispering, a single drop of dew falling to the earth with a tiny, almost inaudible tap. Without a word, Haruto steps into the courtyard, sandals pressing into the cool earth. The two remain in that quiet moment, a father and son bound by unspoken understanding, breathing into the calm that the dawn brings. Beyond the wooden gate, the village begins to stir. Lanterns sway under tiled rooftops, catching hints of gray-blue as dawnlight emerges. A woman sweeps the stones in front of her doorway, broom bristles moving in a steady rhythm, a comforting scratch against the stone. A child peeks around a corner, still holding a small wooden toy carved by an elder brother, eyes wide, hair uncombed, morning wonder on a round face. A cart moves along the narrow street, its wheels creaking softly, pulled by an ox whose breath leaves slow clouds in the cool air. Sparrows flutter between roof edges, landing near a shallow gutter where rainwater has collected from the night before, drinking quietly before taking flight again. From a nearby home, the muffled sound of laughter mixes with a baby's soft cry, then fades into the rustle of bamboo leaves swaying under the dawn breeze. The courtyard waits, earth cool underfoot, air fresh with the scent of river and pine. The plum tree sways lightly in the breeze, its branches carrying drops of dew that fall, one by one, onto the earth. A bird lands on the fence post, tilts its head, then flies away, leaving the air still for a moment. A soft breath is taken, then released, as the body settles into readiness, the mind clear, the heart steady. The day has begun in quiet, as it has many times before, and will many times again. No fanfare, no loud declarations, just the gentle promise of presence, of breath, of discipline. Take a slow breath, letting it move softly through the body, letting it leave gently. As this day begins, let the calm of this morning remain, like a soft lantern light within. We will continue soon, stepping into the morning training, as the world around shifts from dawn into the quiet promise of day. Morning unfolds gently. Mist has lifted, leaving dew along the wooden rails of the courtyard fence. The earth carries the scent of dampness mixed with crushed leaves. A breeze moves softly, brushing past the plum tree, its leaves fluttering with a calm rustle before settling once more. Haruto steps onto the courtyard's packed earth, wooden sandals pressing softly against the cool ground. In the center of this open space, a training post stands, its wood worn smooth from years of quiet practice. There are faint marks, grooves left by countless wooden swords striking in rhythm year after year. Today is not a day of grand battles, but of small repetitions, each breath and movement building toward quiet mastery. A low bow is given toward the empty space ahead, a silent greeting to the morning, to the ancestors, to the discipline that shapes this path. Hands slide along the smooth wood of the bakken, the practiced sword, its weight familiar, yet reminding of its purpose with each hold. Feet shift apart, grounding into the earth. A breath is taken, slow, letting the lungs fill with the morning's clean, crisp air before releasing it in steady calm. One breath. One step. One strike. The practice begins. The rhythm of practice, a simple downward cut, arms lifting in a controlled arc, descending with calm precision. The wooden sword meets the air with a quiet swoosh, then stops with a soft jolt, hands steady, wrists aligned, feet planted. The motion repeats. Again, the arms rise, the cut descends, breath flows, the step lands softly into the earth. The world narrows to the beat of each repetition, the hush of air moving around the blade, the subtle shift of feet on packed ground, the tightening of fingers, the release of shoulders as tension leaves. Crows call from the trees, a child's laughter echoes faintly from a nearby street, then fades. The temple bell rings, soft and distant, reminding the mind to remain here, within this breath, within this moment. Footsteps approach beyond the wooden gate, measured but hurried, sandals brushing along the stone path with a dry whisper. A young messenger pauses at the entrance, bowing respectfully before speaking, voice calm but carrying urgency beneath the surface. Haruto-sama, Dagon-sama, requests your presence at the dojo after your morning practice. The name carries weight. Dagon, an elder samurai known for his quiet discipline, his ability to see through distractions, guiding younger warriors with few words and many small, patient demonstrations. The messenger bows again, stepping back, leaving a soft silence in his wake. The practice continues. The bakken rises, falls, rises again. Each movement becomes part of the air, folding into the morning breeze. The pulse steadies, the breath deepens, the scent of damp earth anchors the senses. The body remembers its training from countless mornings before, adjusting posture, correcting the tilt of the wrists, aligning the shoulders with the hips, letting each cut become smoother, less forced, more natural. A leaf drifts from the plum tree, landing softly on the earth, unnoticed except by the faintest flicker of awareness, a reminder of the stillness that can be found within movement, memories of the father's training. As the practice continues, memories rise softly within the mind. There was a morning when the sky was overcast, rain threatening but not yet falling, the air heavy and still. Haruto's father stood beside him, watching, arms folded, offering a single correction after many repetitions. "Lower your shoulders," he had said, voice calm, eyes steady. "Let the tension leave. Let the movement come from your center, not from force." It was not spoken harshly, nor was it followed by further instruction. Just a quiet correction, then silence, allowing the lesson to take root within practice. Today, that memory lingers, guiding each strike, each breath, each step across the soft earth. Birdsong begins to fill the courtyard as the morning deepens, weaving into the steady rhythm of practice. A dog barks in the distance, carts move along the streets, merchants calling softly, beginning their day's slow trade. The scent of rice cooking drifts from a nearby home, mingling with the crisp air. Somewhere, a child's wooden toy clatters to the ground, followed by a burst of laughter, then silence as the child is led back inside. All of it continues while the practice remains, a quiet anchor within the day's unfolding. The bakken lowers, resting gently at Haruto's side. The breath slows, the body stills, sweat cools along the skin under the soft morning breeze. A deep breath is taken, filling the lungs, then released in calm, leaving the chest quiet, the shoulders loose, the gaze soft. The plum tree's leaves shift once more, their movement catching the light as the sun rises higher. Shadows retreating, warmth slowly seeping into the courtyard earth. A bow is given, marking the close of the morning's practice. A gesture of gratitude to the discipline itself, to the breath, to the small repetitions that shape a samurai's path. Stepping back toward the house, sandals brushing against the earth, the wooden door slides open with a soft clatter. Inside, water waits in a basin, cool and clear, the surface trembling as a hand dips in, bringing it up to the face, washing away the sweat and the quiet exertion of practice. A fresh kimono is tied, dark gray with a simple black sash, the fabric falling clean and straight. The wooden sword is replaced with a real blade, sheathed in lacquered black, its presence at the hip a reminder of duty, of the life walked with awareness. Outside, the morning has fully arrived, sunlight warming rooftops, glinting off the river beyond the trees. Dogen waits at the dojo, and the steps toward him begin, steady and unhurried, carrying the calm of the morning's practice forward. The courtyard falls quiet once more, leaves swaying gently, shadows shifting, the world breathing softly under the clear morning sky. Another temple bell tolls, its sound long and low, rolling across the rooftops and the narrow streets, reminding all who hear it that the day continues, that each breath is another step on a path walked with quiet purpose. The footsteps leave the home, crossing the courtyard, stepping into the street, moving toward the dojo where Dogen waits. With each step, the morning's training carries within, a soft lantern of calm, of discipline, of quiet readiness for what the day will bring. Pause for soft background ambience, river hush, distant temple bell, wind and pine. Take a gentle breath now, letting it flow through the body, bringing quiet steadiness to the heart. As the day unfolds, let the calm of this morning remain, a gentle promise carried forward into the hours ahead. We will continue soon, stepping into the meeting with Dogen as the morning deepens into the quiet promise of midday. The streets are quiet as Haruto walks toward the dojo, sandals brushing softly along the packed earth path. Morning light filters through wooden eaves and narrow alleys, illuminating moss growing between stones and the careful sweep marks left by an old woman clearing dust before her shop. The air is warming, carrying the scent of damp wood, smoke from early fires, and the faint aroma of rice being prepared. A rooster calls, then falls silent, replaced by the distant hush of the river flowing beyond the trees. The dojo comes into view, its wooden beams aged yet strong, the paper windows glowing softly in the light. There's a quiet here, the kind that wraps around the breath and slows the world. Stepping up to the door, Haruto bows, sliding it open, the soft clatter echoing briefly before it is swallowed by the stillness within. Inside, the tatami mats yield underfoot, cool and firm. The air carries the faint scent of pine, the scent of practiced swords resting on their racks, and the quietness of generations that have trained in this space. Dogen is there, seated calmly near the far wall, his posture straight yet relaxed, robes falling in quiet folds, hands resting lightly upon his knees. His hair is streaked with gray, tied back with care, and his eyes, when they lift, hold the quiet depth of someone who has seen many days rise and fall without hurry. A bow is given and returned, wordless respect flowing like water between teacher and student. Haruto kneels, folding into seiza, the position of rest and attention, the sword laid carefully beside him. The silence is not empty here. It is filled with breath, with the warmth of light on wood, with the quiet sounds of the world beyond the dojo's walls. It holds space for the learning that begins not with words, but with presence. Dogen's voice comes, low and calm, as if it has always been there, waiting for the air to carry it forward. "You have practiced this morning," he says, not as a question, but as a truth observed. Haruto nods, the breath steady in the chest. The memory of the morning strikes and steps resting in the limbs like a soft echo. "Good," Dogen continues, eyes lowering for a moment before meeting Haruto's gaze again. "The body must remember what the mind often forgets." He rises slowly, movements deliberate, standing with the quiet strength of a man who has lived each day with awareness. Taking up a wooden sword from the rack, he gestures softly, and Haruto rises, collecting his own practice blade, stepping onto the open tatami. They stand across from each other, the light falling between them, dust motes drifting lazily in the quiet air. The world narrows to the breath, the gentle weight of the sword in hand, the feel of the floor beneath the feet. There is no command to begin. The practice flows forward, as natural as the dawn moving into day. The wooden swords lift, meet, part, their contact a soft thud that echoes briefly in the dojo before fading into stillness. Each movement is calm, measured, a dialogue spoken in the language of footwork, posture, and breath. Dogen steps forward, the strike descending, and Haruto meets it, the blades connecting, the energy flowing between them like water meeting stone. There is no rush, no flurry of strikes meant to impress. Each motion is deliberate, a question and an answer, a teaching wrapped in the quiet meeting of wood. Between movements, Doggen's voice flows softly, carrying lessons as natural as the breeze through the dojo's open window. Feel where your weight rests, he says, as Haruto's foot lands too heavily, disturbing the calm flow of movement. Let the earth carry you, not the other way around. The practice continues, steps aligning with breath, strikes meeting and parting with the hush of wood in the air. Outside, a bird calls, and the world feels distant, yet present in every inhalation and exhalation. At times, Doggen pauses, lowering his sword, allowing the silence to settle. He speaks then, sharing stories of past mornings, of times when he, too, stood in this dojo as a young man, learning the same forms under the watchful eyes of his own teacher. He tells of the morning when he first realized that the sword was not only for cutting, but for seeing, for understanding the self in each movement. His teacher's words come back to him, spoken softly as they practice. Victory without awareness is defeat. Defeat with awareness is a lesson. Haruto listens, each word joining the rhythm of practice, sinking into the body as deeply as the steps upon the tatami. As they continue, Doggen shifts, demonstrating a correction, adjusting the angle of Haruto's wrists, the placement of the feet, the alignment of the hips. Each correction is gentle, a quiet nudge that changes the entire flow of a strike, turning tension into ease, force into precision. There is no shame in the correction, only the quiet understanding that learning is a path walked step by step, breath by breath. Sweat begins to form along the neck, cooling as the breeze moves through the dojo, carrying the scent of pine and earth. The strikes continue, slower now, each movement refined, the practice a meditation in motion. Time passes without urgency. The sun rises higher, casting shifting patterns of light and shadow across the floor, tracing the movements of teacher and student as they step, strike, and return to calm stillness. At last, Doggen lowers his sword, bowing slightly, signaling the end of the morning's practice. Haruto mirrors the bow, breath steady, body aware of the warmth that has built within, the quiet fatigue that follows honest effort. They sit once more upon the tatami, the swords resting at their sides, the dojo holding the silence like a calm pool of water. Doggen's eyes soften, a small, almost unseen smile touching the corners of his mouth. Remember, he says, voice quiet, the sword teaches many things, but the greatest lesson is to know yourself without haste, without judgment. The words settle into the quiet, like a stone gently placed into still water, sending soft ripples outward that fade into calm once more. Haruto bows deeply, gratitude flowing without words, the silence carrying the thanks between them. The door slides open with a soft clatter, letting in the light, the breeze, the scent of the day beyond. Haruto steps out, sandals meeting the warm wood of the threshold before touching the earth once more. The dojo remains behind, holding the morning's practice within its quiet walls, while the path forward stretches softly ahead. The streets are alive now with the days unfolding, the sounds of merchants calling, the scent of food drifting, the warmth of the sun upon the shoulders. Each step carries the calm of the dojo within, the breath steady, the mind quiet, the world alive and patient, waiting for what will come next. The day continues, carrying with it the lessons learned in the hush of wood meeting wood, in the breath taken before each step, in the silent promise that the path is walked not in haste, but in quiet awareness. And as Haruto moves forward, the soft whisper of the sword at his side, the world remains a gentle companion, reminding him that the way of the samurai is not only the way of the blade, but the way of living each moment fully, without rush, without fear. The road stretches ahead, the river flowing softly nearby, the trees swaying with the breeze, the sunlight warm upon the path. With each step, The morning's practice remains within, a quiet lantern guiding gently toward the midday, where the journey will continue. The sun climbs steadily, the air warming, carrying the scent of the earth and the distant whisper of pine needles swaying gently in the breeze. The village hums softly with life, but here, in the training courtyard, time feels slower, measured by breath and the soft scuff of sandals against packed dirt. Haruto returns to the practice ground after the midday meal, his stomach comfortably settled, the taste of simple rice and miso lingering lightly. His body feels the pleasant heaviness that follows nourishment, yet there is an eagerness, a quiet readiness for the afternoon practice to begin. The courtyard is bathed in light, shadows of the roof, beams crossing the earth like brushstrokes. A few other young samurai stand ready, some stretching, others silently focusing, their eyes lowered, hands brushing the handles of their bakken as they prepare to resume their training. Haruto retrieves his bakken from the rack, the polished wood warm under his palms. The smooth grain is familiar, grounding, reminding him of the hours spent learning the rhythm of each movement, the breath that flows with every step, the way the shoulders relax as the strike is delivered. He stands in position, feet steady, knees soft, the world narrowing into the simple space before him. The instructor, an older samurai with a calm, watchful presence, gives a quiet nod. It is time. The rhythm of movement, the first strikes are measured, flowing with the breath, cutting through the air with a soft swish, returning to stance with care. Haruto feels the shift in weight with each movement, the earth steady beneath him, the air whispering against his skin. He practices the kata repeatedly, each sequence a dance of intention, a study in patience and precision. The steps forward, the angled cuts, the pivot of the hips, the firm, controlled return to guard. The movements are not rushed. They are deliberate, shaped by discipline, and softened by the gentle afternoon light. Nearby, two others begin paired practice, their bakken meeting with a gentle thud, controlled, careful, their breath aligning with each exchange. The instructor moves quietly among them, adjusting his stance with a calm touch, offering a word in a low voice, the tone soothing rather than sharp. Haruto feels sweat gathering at the edge of his brow, sliding slowly down, a reminder of effort, of the body's presence within each breath. He does not wipe it away immediately. Instead, he continues the kata, each cut aligned with breath, the world held softly in the space of each motion. A moment of pause after a series of repetitions, the instructor raises a hand, and the courtyard quiets further. The only sounds now the rustle of clothing and the soft exhalations of the young samurai as they lower their bakken. They gather for a moment, sitting in seiza upon the cool earth, the instructor speaking quietly of focus, of the importance of aligning intention with action, of the stillness that must live within even when the body is in motion. The words are simple, clear, and steady, flowing like a gentle stream, calming the breath, reminding each of them why they train, why the hours of repetition matter, why the silence is as much a part of practice as the movements themselves. The breeze moves softly through the courtyard, lifting a strand of hair, carrying the scent of the pines and the warmth of the sun. The instructor pauses, allowing the quiet to settle, before giving a small nod, signaling the return to practice. Repetition and mastery. Haruto rises slowly, feeling the earth under his knees as he stands, the bakken returning to his hands with a comforting familiarity. He moves through the kata again, this time with deeper focus, the earlier words still echoing softly, reminding him to let each movement emerge from stillness rather than haste. The strikes flow, the breath aligns, the mind softens into the rhythm of repetition, each step measured, each cut precise, each return to guard a gentle reminder of control. The world narrows once more, not in tension, but in calm awareness, the afternoon sun watching silently above. Nearby, the sounds of sparring continue, controlled, focused, a soft conversation between Bakken and air. Occasionally, a small bird flits across the training ground, pausing upon the fence before darting away, its presence a lightness in the steady practice. The hours stretch gently, marked by the slow movement of shadows across the courtyard, the warmth of the sun tempered by the occasional breeze, the scent of the earth and wood reminding Haruto of the simplicity and depth of this part of his path. Closing the practice as the afternoon wanes, the instructor signals the close of practice with a quiet clap, and the young samurai lower their bakken, breathing out softly, allowing the calm to settle within. Haruto wipes his brow, the sweat cool against his skin, his breath steady, his body aware of the day's effort, yet not burdened by it. The bakken is returned to the rack with care, the wood meeting wood in a soft final note to the afternoon training. He steps away from the practice ground, feeling the earth beneath his feet, the air cooling slightly as the sun leans toward the western hills. The village sounds grow a little louder now, the distant call of a mother to her children, the soft bark of a dog, the clink of bowls being prepared for the evening meal. A sense of calm accomplishment fills the space around Haruto as he walks toward the well to wash his hands, with cool water washing away the sweat, leaving behind the steady warmth of effort well given. The sky above carries the soft promise of evening, colors deepening, shadows lengthening, the scent of wood smoke beginning to blend with the earth and the fading warmth of the sun. Today, the discipline of training has left a quiet strength within, a reminder that even in the repetition there is growth, that within the silence of practice there is the shaping of spirit, steady, calm, and patient. Haruto turns toward the path leading home, ready to step into the evening, carrying with him the soft, disciplined strength of a samurai's day. The afternoon sun is lower now, softer as it touches the rooftops and dirt roads. Haruto steps out from the training courtyard, the earth cool beneath his feet, dust rising in small clouds as he walks. The air holds the scent of pine and wood smoke drifting gently through the village lanes. Children's laughter drifts and fades with the breeze. A cart creaks in the distance, its wheels crunching softly over stones. Birds hop along the edges of rooftops, calling to each other before falling silent again. Haruto's steps are slow, each one measured, his breath even after the hours of practice. His hands feel the weight of the bakken he carries, the smooth wood warm where the sun has touched it. At the doorway of his home, his mother looks up from where she is peeling vegetables, her eyes meeting his with a calm softness. No words are needed. She shifts aside to let him pass, the simple act saying welcome without speaking. Inside, the scent of miso soup and rice steaming fills the small space. The warmth of the hearth glows softly, a comforting presence. His father sits near the low table, mending a straw sandal with careful, patient hands. The room is quiet except for the soft crackle of the fire and the light sound of boiling water. Haruto places his bakken carefully in the corner, the wood tapping softly as it settles against the wall. They sit together at the low table. His mother sets bowls down, each movement unhurried, each clink of ceramic a gentle reminder of the day's steady rhythm. Haruto bows his head, hands together, giving thanks with quiet words before lifting the bowl. The rice is warm, the miso broth savory, the pickled vegetables sharp, but comforting on the tongue. Each bite slows time, anchoring Haruto in the small, ordinary moment. His father speaks quietly, mentioning the coming rains and how the roof needs checking before the weather changes. The conversation is soft, drifting, leaving long stretches of silence that feel calm, not empty. The light from the hearth flickers, shadows moving gently on the wood walls, the glow warming the air as the day outside begins to cool. After the meal, Haruto helps clear the bowls, the water cool as he rinses them clean, the soft scrape of ceramic against wood a quiet rhythm. Outside, the lanterns in neighboring homes begin to glow, each small flame a point of light against the darkening sky. Haruto steps outside, feeling the cool evening air against his skin. The sky is painted in soft shades of purple and deep blue, clouds edged with the last hints of gold. Crickets begin to sing, their voices a calm, constant sound. He walks slowly toward the small shrine at the edge of the village, the path lined with small stones that shift underfoot. The scent of damp earth and pine needles rises as he steps, the breeze carrying the quiet rustle of bamboo leaves. At the shrine, Haruto bows, his eyes closing for a moment as he listens to the world around him. The wind whispers softly, the leaves rustle, and a distant dog barks once before falling silent. The stars begin to appear, one by one, small and bright against the vast sky. Haruto remembers the stories his grandfather told of warriors who once looked to these same stars before battle, seeking guidance in the steady lights above. He stands for a while, letting the air cool him, the calm of the evening settling into his bones. Then he turns, the path back to his home familiar under his feet, the lantern light welcoming him as he steps inside. His father is seated by the hearth, sharpening a small blade, the soft scrape of the whetstone steady in the quiet room. Haruto sits beside him, the warmth of the hearth comforting, the shadows dancing along the walls. They do not speak much, but the silence is gentle, filled with the small sounds of home. Haruto feels the warmth of the day, the weight of the training, the softness of his mother's presence, the quiet strength of his father's steady work. When it is time to rest, Haruto unrolls his mat carefully, smoothing the edges with patient hands. The tatami smells faintly of straw, and the cool air from outside drifts across his skin. He lies down slowly, pulling a thin blanket over himself, the sounds of the night folding around him. The soft call of an owl, the rustle of bamboo, the creak of wood and the beams above all of them, part of the world, part of this quiet moment. Haruto closes his eyes, letting his breath slow, letting the calm of the evening guide him toward sleep. The steady rhythm of the day lingers, the training, the meal, the quiet walk, the glow of the lanterns. Sleep comes softly, like the breeze through the pines, like the warmth of the hearth, like the steady earth beneath him. The path of the samurai continues, even in dreams, slow and calm, guided by the stars above. The late afternoon light drifts across the village like a quiet river, moving gently between rooftops, along the stone paths, across the rice fields, now glowing softly under the sky's golden wash. The air holds a slight coolness, brushing against the skin with the promise of the coming evening. Bamboo leaves sway, whispering softly as the world begins to slow its breath. Haruto leaves the family home, stepping carefully along the narrow path that winds past small gardens where vegetables grow in neat rows. A neighbor bows as he passes, carrying a basket of radishes, the tops still damp from the earth. The smell of soil and green leaves blends with the faint hint of wood smoke in the breeze. The day's training sits within Haruto's muscles, a quiet ache that feels steady, like the memory of each kata and each step. His balkan rests against his back, tied carefully with a length of cloth, the wood warm where it touches him, a reminder of practice and discipline. A small group of children runs past, laughter ringing in the air before fading quickly, their sandals kicking up tiny puffs of dust on the road. Haruto watches them, the energy of their play, a soft contrast to the measured calm within him, the quiet rhythm that holds him steady. He walks toward the river, its gentle sound greeting him even before he sees it. The water moves over stones, clear and cold, catching the light and ripples that dance. Dragonflies hover above, their wings catching the sun, shimmering blue and green before darting away. Haruto steps closer, kneeling near the edge, cupping his hands to collect the cold water. It drips through his fingers, cooling his palms, the scent of wet stone and river grass rising with the breeze. He splashes his face, feeling the coolness spread, the water's touch washing away the sweat and dust from the day. Nearby, an elder sits on a smooth stone, mending a fishing net. The elder's hands move with practiced patience, each knot tied carefully, the thin twine pulled taut. Released, pulled again. Haruto bows softly, the elder nods in return, eyes kind but sharp beneath heavy brows. No words pass between them, but the quiet acknowledgement feels complete. Standing, Haruto breathes deeply, letting the air fill his lungs, the scent of river water and pine blending with the fading warmth of the day. He turns toward the path leading into the forest that edges the village, the shadows beneath the trees long and soft, the leaves overhead catching the last light in bright edges before shifting into deeper greens. The forest greets him with quiet, the sound of the river fading behind as he steps onto the pine needle-covered ground. Each step is soft, the earth giving slightly underfoot. The scent here is deeper, layered with the coolness of shade, the faint sharpness of crushed needles, the hidden sweetness of damp earth. Birdsong echoes gently far above in the branches, small chirps and calls weaving through the hush. Haruto walks slowly, letting each step fall naturally, letting the quiet guide him deeper beneath the trees. A squirrel pauses on a branch, watching him before it flicks its tail and disappears into the leaves. He comes to a small clearing where sunlight falls in patches, warming the mossy ground. Haruto sits, resting his bakken across his lap, letting his hands relax, palms open. He closes his eyes, listening to the breeze move through the leaves, to the distant calls of birds, to the faint hum of insects in the grass. In the quiet, he remembers his teacher's words from earlier in the day. The calm voice reminding him that a warrior's strength is not only in skill, but in patience and the ability to be still, to listen, to see. Haruto breathes slowly, letting the air enter and leave without hurry, letting his body settle into the quiet of the clearing. Time passes gently here, unhurried, marked only by the slow shift of light across the ground, the occasional rustle of a small animal in the undergrowth, the soft creak of a tree as it sways in the breeze. Haruto opens his eyes, looking at the leaves above, their green shifting with the wind, the sky beyond them now a softer blue as evening approaches. Standing, Haruto bows slightly to the clearing, acknowledging the quiet, the stillness it has given him. He steps back onto the path, moving slowly, feeling the ground beneath his feet, the warmth of the day still lingering in the air as the shadows grow longer. As he nears the edge of the forest, the sky begins to take on the colors of dusk, soft purples and pinks touching the clouds, the light becoming gentler, wrapping the world in a quiet glow. Lanterns begin to appear in the village, small points of light that flicker and sway with the breeze. Haruto's steps take him past neighbors tending small fires, the scent of cooking rice and roasting vegetables drifting through the air. A woman stands by a well, drawing water with careful hands, the bucket creaking as it rises, droplets falling back into the dark water below with soft splashes. He pauses, offering to help carry the bucket back to her home. She thanks him quietly, her smile warm but tired, and together they walk the short path, the water sloshing gently, the lantern light guiding them. At her door, she bows in gratitude, and Haruto returns the gesture before continuing on. At home, the small fire is already burning, the glow casting gentle shadows along the walls. His mother stirs a pot over the flame, the scent of broth rich with herbs and vegetables, comforting in its warmth. His father sits nearby, quietly sharpening a small blade, the rhythmic scrape of the stone against metal a steady sound in the room. They share the evening meal together, each movement unhurried, each bite a part of the quiet that holds them. The warmth of the food settles in Haruto's belly, easing the tiredness from the day, bringing a calm that moves through his limbs, through the spaces between breaths. After the meal, Haruto helps clear the bowls, washing them carefully in cool water, the scent of soap mixing with the scent of the night air drifting in through the window. Lantern light flickers on the water's surface, The quiet splashes a gentle rhythm that calms the mind. Outside, the sky deepens, stars appearing one by one, small lights steady and distant, reminding Haruto of stories told by elders about warriors who once navigated by these same stars, letting their light guide journeys through both land and spirit. Haruto steps outside for a moment, feeling the coolness of the night on his skin, letting his breath rise softly in the air. Crickets sing from the grasses, their voices calm, constant, blending with the rustle of bamboo as the breeze moves through. He bows once toward the darkened sky, then returns inside, the warmth of the small home greeting him as he steps through the doorway. His mother and father are speaking softly, their voices low, the tones warm, the words simple but filled with care. Haruto unrolls his mat in the corner, smoothing it with careful hands, the scent of straw rising gently. He lays down slowly, pulling a thin blanket over himself, letting the softness of the mat support the weight of his body, letting the calm of the day settle around him. The sounds of the night continue, a gentle chorus that fills the room without disturbing the quiet. The owl calls once from the bamboo grove. The wind sighs softly. The wooden beams above creak as they settle. Haruto's eyes close, and the breath moves through him, slow, even quiet. The day's training, the walk to the river, the stillness of the forest, the warmth of family, the quiet glow of lantern light, all of it rests with him now, holding him in calm as sleep begins to draw near. Sleep comes softly, like the wind through the pines, like the gentle hush of the river, like the steady earth beneath him. In this quiet, Haruto drifts, the stars above watching, the world around him silent, calm, waiting for the dawn to come once more. The day settles into a calm hush as the sun lowers, painting the village in warm gold and softening every edge. Haruto's sandals press gently into the earth as he walks back through narrow lanes, the breeze carrying a cool promise of the evening. The scent of pine mixes with drifting wood smoke, and the quiet sounds of children's laughter fade as families gather inside. At the entrance of his home, Haruto pauses, resting his hand against the wooden frame, feeling the warmth held from the day's sun. He steps inside where the light is softer, filtered through paper screens. His mother is there, folding linens with careful hands, humming a melody so gentle it blends with the rustling leaves outside. He helps her carry the folded cloth to a small chest, the scent of clean fabric and cedar wood rising softly. They do not rush, placing each piece with quiet precision, sharing small nods instead of words, a silent rhythm guiding them as dusk deepens around the home. The sky outside shifts to a tender violet, the first stars blinking awake as lanterns are lit along the village paths, their glow flickering in the breeze. Haruto steps outside again with a small lantern of his own, the warm light swaying with each step, throwing soft patterns against the ground. The air carries a comforting coolness, and the world slows further under the coming night. He walks toward the small family shrine, lantern in hand, its flame steady against the soft wind. The bamboo nearby whispers quietly, the leaves moving like water under the touch of the breeze. He places the lantern before the shrine, bowing low, his breath measured and calm, grounding himself in gratitude for the day, for his training, for the quiet protection of his ancestors. A soft prayer passes through his thoughts, not loud, not urgent, but gentle, like the rustle of the evening itself. He stays there for a while, breathing in the scent of cool earth and the distant river, letting the calm of the moment press softly against his mind. When he returns home, he sees his father outside, carefully tying bundles of kindling, the rope rough and fibrous in strong, weathered hands. Haruto kneels to help, the task simple, the quiet between them carrying more than words. The lantern's glow casts gentle shadows on their faces, and a few moths dance around the light, their wings catching flashes of gold. His father speaks softly about the coming rains, about the repairs needed on the storehouse, about small plans for the coming days. Haruto listens, the warmth of the lantern between them, the hush of night deepening around their quiet conversation. Inside, his mother prepares a light evening meal, the scent of rice steaming and miso blending with the air, comforting and familiar. Haruto helps set the small wooden bowls, aligning them neatly, feeling the smooth surface under his fingers, the warmth from the rice rising in small curls of steam. They eat together under the glow of a single lantern, the house calm, the sounds of the outside world soft and distant. Chopsticks click softly against bowls, the warmth of the rice grounding, the miso's subtle salt carrying the memory of the sea. After the meal, Haruto helps clear the dishes, washing each one with careful movements, the water cool on his hands, the scent of wood smoke drifting in from the open window. Outside, crickets begin their quiet chorus, their soft song folding into the evening air. Later, Haruto steps outside, looking at the sky now deep and dark, stars scattered like grains of salt across black silk. The lantern in his hand glows softly, casting a small circle of light that moves with him as he walks to the edge of the home's small garden. He kneels on the earth, closing his eyes, letting the night air cool his face, letting the day's effort settle into his bones. Each breath is slow, each exhale a quiet offering to the night. The soft earth grounds him, the gentle sounds of bamboo and distant water weaving around him in a calm lullaby. The lantern's flame flickers, steadying, reflecting in Haruto's calm gaze as he opens his eyes. He rises, walking slowly back inside, each step gentle, measured, without haste, the hush of the night guiding him toward rest. As the lantern is set down, its glow softens, casting long shadows across the floor, and Haruto feels the weight of the day ease from his shoulders. His mind holds the calm of the river, the quiet of the bamboo, the warmth of his family's presence, and the guidance of his path as a samurai. He prepares his sleeping mat, smoothing it with careful hands, folding his robe neatly, placing it beside him and letting the cool air touch his skin one last time before he lies down. The light dims, the last sounds of the village settling into a deeper silence. Haruto closes his eyes, the memory of the lantern's glow, the scent of wood smoke, and the hush of the evening carrying him gently toward sleep. Night has fully embraced the village now, the sky above deep and endless, stars scattered in quiet patterns across its darkness. The lanterns along the paths glow softly, small islands of warmth against the cool breath of the evening air. Haruto steps outside once more, the ground cool beneath his feet, the scent of pine. An earth rich in the air, the night breeze carrying the faint rustle of bamboo leaves. Each breath he takes is slow, measured, drawing in the calm of the night, letting it settle within him. He walks toward the small clearing behind his home where the grass feels soft and damp underfoot, where the night air is filled with the comforting hum of crickets and the distant call of an owl. The sky feels vast above him, the constellations steady and quiet, each one a silent witness to the lives below. Haruto kneels on the earth, placing his hands upon his thighs, closing his eyes. His breath finds a quiet rhythm, slow, soft, like the waves of the distant sea against the shore. In the stillness, the sounds of the village soften further until they become part of the quiet, a gentle backdrop for the meditation of the night. He feels the memory of the day within his body, the steady ache of practiced movements, the warmth of the rice shared with his family, the touch of the river breeze against his skin, the flicker of lantern light on his father's face. Each memory is like a small lantern within him, casting gentle light, reminding him of the path he walks. A soft breeze moves through the clearing, brushing against his face, carrying the cool scent of river water and the fresh earth, reminding him of impermanence, of the constant flow of time that shapes all moments into memories. Haruto breathes in deeply, the cool air expanding within him, grounding him to the present. His mind drifts not in haste, but like leaves on a quiet stream, pausing on the teachings of his sensei. The words about courage, not as noise, but as quiet commitment about the sword, not only as a tool of battle, but as a reminder to live each moment with awareness, to carry respect in every action. In the darkness, he opens his eyes to look at the stars again, tracing the patterns his grandfather once pointed out. Each star a reminder that warriors before him have looked up, finding guidance, finding a reminder that they are part of something vast and quiet. He rises slowly, feeling the earth beneath him, the strength of his legs, the steady calm in his breath. The soft glow from the lantern by the door calls him back, the small flame swaying in the breeze, casting patterns on the wooden walls of his home. Inside, the home is warm, the last embers in the hearth giving off a faint glow, the scent of wood smoke mixing with the coolness drifting in through the open window. Haruto carefully folds his robe, smoothing the fabric with calm hands, feeling the texture beneath his fingers. He unrolls his sleeping mat, placing it in the same quiet corner, aligning it with the care his mother once showed him when he was younger, reminding him that even small actions can carry respect and intention. The mat feels firm, grounding, its familiar scent of straw and cloth comforting as he sits down upon it. A small cup of warm tea waits for him, prepared by his mother before she went to rest, its steam rising softly, carrying the gentle scent of herbs and earth. Haruto lifts it with both hands, feeling its warmth seep into his palms, the first sip grounding him, reminding him of the warmth of family, of the simplicity that nurtures the spirit. As he drinks, he listens to the sounds of the night, the quiet movements of the wind outside, the occasional creak of wood as the home settles, the gentle breath of the village around him, calm and unhurried. Each sound feels like a soft drum, steady and comforting, easing him further into the calm of the evening. When the tea is finished, he places the cup down with care, taking a slow breath, letting the warmth linger within him. He lies down upon his mat, pulling a light blanket over himself, the fabric soft against his skin, the coolness of the air balanced by the warmth he carries within. His eyes remain open for a moment, looking toward the window where a sliver of moonlight cuts across the floor, a soft glow against the darkness, reminding him that the night too carries its own light, quiet and patient. As he closes his eyes, he lets his breath remain slow, feeling the steady rise and fall of his chest, the rhythm of the day settling into a soft echo within him. The training, the small kindnesses, the steady steps upon the earth, the soft voices of his family all remain with him, weaving a gentle path toward sleep. The soft hum of the crickets, the quiet whisper of the breeze, the hush of the night become a lullaby, carrying him deeper into rest. The world narrows to the simple comfort of breath, the warmth of the mat, the coolness of the air. In this quiet, Haruto drifts the calm of the samurai's path, holding him as sleep comes gently, like the touch of a breeze across the face, like the soft glow of lantern light fading as dawn waits beyond the horizon. The night holds the village in a gentle embrace, the stars above watching quietly, unmoving as the soft breeze carries the scent of river water and pine across rooftops and fields. The lantern in the corner has long gone out, leaving only the silvery glow of the moon to brush against the wooden walls. Haruto lies upon his mat, eyes closed, but the calm of the day lingers in his breath, each inhale. An exhale slow, steady, guiding him into the quiet space that exists between waking and sleep. The world outside has hushed, even the crickets now a softer chorus, a quiet rhythm that wraps around him. The weight of the day is present in his body, but is a comforting weight, the ache in his arms from the practice. The softness in his legs from the evening walk the warmth in his chest from the tea shared with his family. Each memory drifts slowly, like lanterns upon water, moving without hurry. In this quiet, the teachings of his sensei return to him, not as loud instructions, but as whispers. The reminder that discipline is not simply for the battlefield, but for every moment, even now in the soft quiet of the night. The memory of the sword's weight in his hands blends with the memory of rice steam rising in the family home, both part of the same life, the same path. A soft breeze enters through the window, carrying the scent of damp earth, and the sound of bamboo leaves brushing against each other, like the faint rustle of robes during training. Haruto's breath follows this rhythm, each inhale filling him with the cool promise of the night, each exhale letting go of the day's tension. His mind drifts to the stories his grandfather once shared under the same star, stories of warriors who found courage in moments of stillness, who found strength not only in their swords, but in the quiet decision to protect, to serve, to honor. In the darkness, Haruto can almost hear the soft voice of his grandfather, telling of the nights spent on watch, the nights spent listening to the world, letting its silence teach him patience. Outside, the faint hoot of an owl echoes, a reminder that life moves even in the quiet, that the world breathes in its own rhythm. The moon shifts, casting new patterns of light across the floor, like waves of pale silver moving gently, reminding Haruto of the river's surface under moonlight. In the state between sleep and waking, dreams begin to touch him not as sudden images, but as gentle waves, memories of training. Blending with visions of walking forest paths, the scent of pine, needles underfoot, the soft hush of snow falling on branches, the hush of temple bells in the distance. He dreams of standing in the dojo, the wooden sword in his hands, the smooth surface familiar beneath his fingers, the air carrying the scent of cedar and earth. His sensei's presence feels close, guiding him through forms, each movement slow, deliberate, the world around him quiet except for the soft rustle of his robes. In another moment, he finds himself by the river, the morning mist rising from the water, cool against his face. The world feels still as if holding its breath, the surface of the water reflecting the pale dawn sky, clouds drifting in quiet patterns, promising a new day. The dreams shift again, and he is seated beside his mother, who is carefully preparing tea, the small clay cups warm in her hands, steam rising in delicate spirals, carrying the scent of herbs. They share a quiet moment, the silence filled with understanding, with gratitude for these small, gentle moments that shape their days. Haruto's breath remains slow, the rhythm of his heart steady, guiding him deeper into rest. His body feels light, drifting in the soft darkness, the woven mat beneath him a comforting anchor, the cool air brushing gently against his skin. Outside, the wind moves through the bamboo again, a soft whisper, like the quiet words of a friend saying, "Rest now." The stars remain above, silent companions to the sleeping village, their light unchanged, patient, waiting for dawn to arrive. The dreams soften further, becoming like mist, like the faint scent of wood smoke that still lingers in the home. Haruto's mind drifts to thoughts of the future, of the path he will continue to walk, of the promise of the morning practice, of the gentle discipline that shapes each breath, each step, each thought. His body, tired yet at peace, sinks further into the mat, the warmth of the blanket wrapped around him, the softness of the night's air carrying him deeper into sleep, the soft hum of the village at night, the distant sounds of water moving through the irrigation channels, the occasional crack of wood cooling under the night air, all become a lullaby. In the space, Haruto rests fully, the quiet strength of the samurai's path guiding him, the lessons of the day settling within him, becoming part of who he is. Each breath carries him further into dreams, where the sword's edge becomes a promise to live with intention, and the quiet river becomes a reminder that all things move, all things change, yet there is peace in the flow. The stars slowly shift as the night continues, the sky holding the promise of dawn, though it has not yet arrived. The world remains hushed, waiting, holding its breath in the soft darkness, allowing Haruto to rest, to gather the quiet strength he will need when the morning returns. The night has settled deeply over the village, a soft blanket of quiet. The moon, high and calm, spills silver light across the wooden floors, over the rice paper doors, and into the corners where shadows rest. Inside the small home, Haruto sleeps, wrapped in the softness of woven blankets, the scent of pine smoke and cool night air drifting in through a slightly open window. The gentle sounds of insects sing outside, a quiet chorus under the moon, and the hush of the wind brushing against the bamboo walls hums softly like a breath before dawn. Then there is a knock. Soft, deliberate, not hurried, yet clear in the night silence. Haruto's eyes open slowly, blinking once, twice, adjusting to the pale glow of the lantern hanging in the corner. His father is already at the door, sliding it open just enough to reveal a young retainer standing in the moonlight, head bowed low, hands respectfully folded. In a voice hushed but steady, the retainer speaks. A message from the local magistrate has arrived. At dawn, Haruto's father and Haruto are requested to join an escort mission. A minor daimyo, traveling to inspect the river works in the region, has requested additional protection along the morning road, where rumors of bandits have spread. There is no urgency in the retainer's voice, but there is the weight of duty that sits quietly in the air. The retainer bows again and leaves, footsteps fading into the night's breath. Haruto sits up slowly, the mat shifting under him, the cool air brushing against his skin. He looks toward his father, who nods calmly, his eyes reflecting the lantern's glow. No words are spoken for a moment as they both listen to the distant rustle of bamboo leaves outside. Haruto's father moves quietly to gather a few belongings. A small cloth bundle with rice balls wrapped neatly, a gourd of water, and a length of rope. The soft sound of folding cloth, the rustle of straw, and the faint creak of the wooden floor are the only sounds in the quiet house. Haruto moves to help, his hands steady as he gathers his sandals, brushing them gently with a cloth to remove any dust. The simple leather straps feel familiar under his fingers, grounding him in the rhythm of preparation. He moves to check his wooden practice sword, tracing a hand along its length, feeling the smooth, cool surface, the slight imperfections in the grain. Though he is still young, the responsibility of protection is not foreign to him, and the calm in his chest is as important as the readiness of his limbs. His father kneels by a small wooden box, unwrapping a short blade, inspecting it carefully under the lantern light. The glint of steel catches in the warm glow, but there is no fear, no rush. Only the quiet diligence of a samurai preparing to serve. Haruto watches, breathing slowly, observing how his father's hands move, careful, precise, never wasting a gesture. The lantern flickers slightly as a breeze drifts through, bringing the scent of cool earth and the faint fragrance of pine. They share a simple cup of tea in the stillness, the warmth of the cup comforting against the cool air. The tea is soft and earthy, steam curling gently upward before dissolving into the lantern-lit air. Afterward, Haruto steps outside, sliding the door closed softly behind him. The moonlight spills across the packed earth, illuminating the small courtyard where the stones are cool and smooth beneath his feet. He breathes in deeply, filling his lungs with the night's coolness, the scent of damp earth and the faint sweetness of distant blossoms. His eyes lift to the sky, where stars scatter across the deep, endless dark, quiet sentinels above. Haruto reflects on the life he is growing into, the quiet readiness that is part of being a samurai. The need to serve, to protect, to move when called, even in the deep of night, with calm and steady breath. He thinks of the roads they will walk at dawn, of the cool mist that will rise from the river, of the soft clatter of hooves and the hush of sandals on the morning path. He imagines the gentle watchfulness he will hold, scanning the tree line, the rock edges, and the hidden bends of the road. A night bird calls softly, its voice clear and lonely across the bamboo groves, before silence returns, deep and comforting. Haruto returns inside, moving slowly, not disturbing the soft stillness that has settled again in the house. His father is finishing preparations, setting the bundle near the door, checking the length of rope, folding it carefully. The lantern light glows softly, shadows dancing gently on the walls as the flame flickers. They sit together, not speaking, letting the silence speak for them. The preparation is as much about the mind as it is about the body. Haruto closes his eyes for a moment, letting his breath slow, counting each inhale and exhale, feeling the calm settle into his bones. The house creaks softly as the night air moves through it, a reminder of the world outside that continues to turn quietly under the moon. When Haruto lies back down to rest before dawn, the mat feels cool and grounding beneath him. His body is ready, but his mind remains calm, not racing, not worrying, just accepting the path ahead. He listens to the faint sounds of the night, the sigh of the wind, the soft shifting of the trees, the quiet movements of his father preparing nearby. He focuses on his breath, the slow rise and fall, the gentle beat of his heart, steady like the distant sound of a drum. Haruto lets his eyes close, letting the calm darkness envelop him once more, knowing that in a few hours he will rise, step into the dawn, and walk the path with quiet vigilance. The night holds him, and in its soft embrace, he drifts again, letting the thoughts of dawn and duty blend with the comforting rhythm of sleep, the readiness within him becoming part of the gentle peace of the night. The lantern's glow softens, shadows dancing gently on the wooden walls as the evening deepens. Haruto lies down, the woven mat firm beneath him, the scent of pine drifting softly through the small open window. The hush of the night wraps around the home, calm and still, carrying the warmth of the day as it settles into memory. In the quiet, the mind drifts through the rhythms of the day, the careful steps on the training grounds, the warm rice shared with family, the soft laughter of children passing by in the lane, and the focused moments when each breath was steady and clear. Outside, the night sky stretches wide, a scatter of stars above, steady and ancient, guiding the world from dusk to dawn. The bamboo rustles softly, a hush in the darkness, a reminder that there is no need to hurry, that the day has done its work, and the body can rest. The samurai path is not only about the sword, nor only about duty and service. It is about waking each morning with quiet purpose, tending to the smallest tasks with the same care as the largest. It is about pausing to bow to the dawn, to thank the earth for its firmness beneath each step, to notice the shifting colors of the sky as the sun passes across the day. Haruto's day as a samurai has ended, the final breaths before sleep carrying a soft promise of tomorrow's light, of practice and family, of gentle steps on the path he has chosen. The softness of the mat, the quiet of the room, and the slow breath in and out become the closing notes of this day. The night deepens, and as Haruto drifts toward sleep, let us continue together with gentle stories and facts from the world of the samurai, softly learning as the body rests, allowing the mind to wander, calmly floating on these stories like leaves upon a quiet stream. Long ago, in the small villages and the larger towns, samurai were respected figures, not only for their skill with the blade, but for the way they carried themselves in everyday life. In tea houses, known then as chaya, it was said that a samurai's respect for others could be seen in the way he removed his sandals before stepping onto the wooden floors, in the gentle nod given to the tea server, and in the calm patience with which he waited, hands resting quietly upon his knees for his tea to cool. There is a small story often told of a young boy, no older than 7, who began training with a wooden sword, a bakken, under the watchful eye of his grandfather. Each morning, the boy would sweep the garden, his small hands gripping the broom with determination. His grandfather would watch, saying only, in sweeping, learn the rhythm of the breath. The boy learned that training did not begin when he lifted the sword, but when he lifted the broom, when he bowed to the dawn, when he washed his face in the cool morning water. Another quiet moment unfolds in the memory of a small roadside eatery where steam from the soup pot carried the scent of miso and wild herbs. A samurai once noticed a merchant speaking harshly to a young servant girl who had spilled water upon the floor. Calmly, the samurai rose, took a cloth, and began to wipe the spill himself. His quiet action caused the merchant to lower his eyes, his anger softening into silence. The samurai did not need to raise his voice or draw his sword to speak for the weak. His gentle action was enough to remind others of respect. Samurai life was often a balance between readiness for duty and deep appreciation for small, peaceful moments. There were days spent repairing armor, carefully mending the cords that held the plates together, polishing the metal until it caught the light like water. These moments were not seen as chores, but as meditation, a time to reflect upon the service they had pledged to give, the family they protected, and the village they watched over. In the evenings, it was common for families to gather near the hearth, sharing warm rice and quiet conversation, the flicker of the fire casting moving patterns across the walls. Samurai fathers often told stories of the seasons, the way the plum blossoms signaled the arrival of spring, the sound of cicadas announcing summer, the rich colors of maple leaves in autumn, and the hush of snow in winter. These stories connected the children to the land, reminding them that the world was always changing, and that, like the seasons, they too would grow, learn, and find their place. Children were taught to bow deeply to elders, to respect the farmer who tilled the soil, to thank the potter who made the bowls that held their food, and to honor the carpenter who built the homes that sheltered them. This respect was part of the samurai path, a constant thread that wove through daily life, reminding them that strength was not only in the arm that could wield a blade, but in the heart that could show kindness. Samurai also found moments of calm in the practice of calligraphy, using brush and ink to write poems or important phrases, the soft scrape of the brush across paper a meditation in itself. Each stroke was deliberate, each breath steady, each character a reflection of the mind's focus and the spirit's calm. As you rest now, let these stories drift softly across your thoughts, like the evening mist settling upon the fields. Let the lessons of quiet courage, gentle respect, and mindful living settle within, reminding you that you are enough in this moment, that you have done enough for today, and that rest is an act of quiet strength. The world outside remains calm, the stars watching gently, the night breeze carrying the promise of tomorrow. Let the breath ease, in and out, slow and soft, as the quiet of the samurai path guides you into rest. Sleep well, knowing that even in the quiet moments, there is growth, and in rest, there is renewal. The night remains calm, the air cool against the skin, carrying the faint scent of pine and earth. Stars remain scattered like grains of salt across dark silk, and as the world outside holds its quiet, we continue softly, allowing these stories of the samurai to drift across your thoughts, comforting and gentle. Among the many customs of samurai life was the deep respect for nature's rhythms. It was common for samurai to step into the early morning garden, bowing to the first light, observing the dew upon the leaves, the breath of mist rising from the earth. The connection to nature was not merely spiritual, but a grounding practice, reminding them of impermanence, of the seasons, of how each moment is fleeting and precious. In the quiet of dawn, it is said that some samurai would practice iedo, the art of drawing the sword in a single smooth motion. The sword was drawn not with aggression, but with care, the blade whispering from its scabbard in a single breath, before returning just as quietly. Each practice was done with mindfulness, the focus steady, the breath slow, the spirit calm. There is a small story told of a young samurai, still learning, who was sent on an errand to deliver a message to a neighboring village. The journey took him along winding forest paths where sunlight filtered through tall cedar trees. Along the way, he came upon an old woman struggling to carry a heavy bundle of firewood. Without hesitation, He offered to carry the load to her home, adjusting the bundle across his shoulders. When she offered thanks, he bowed deeply, saying only that kindness was the duty of all, whether warrior or farmer. This quiet moment was a lesson he carried for the rest of his life. In tea houses, where the warm scent of roasted tea leaves and the steam of simple meals welcomed travelers, samurai were known for their quiet composure. It was customary to place one sword at one side within reach, yet angled away to show peace, a gesture of trust toward the host and others within. Conversations were quiet, with voices kept low, respecting the peace of the space. Even in these small moments, honor and readiness coexisted with calm. A samurai's training included not only the sword, but also archery and horseback riding. Long afternoons might be spent in quiet fields, the creak of the bow, the soft hiss of the arrow in flight, the steady rhythm of a horse's hooves upon the earth. Each skill was practiced not with the rush of competition, but with the intent to master the self, to remain calm and precise, to move with the breath rather than against it. At home, samurai valued calligraphy and poetry, often writing haiku that reflected the passing seasons or the lessons learned in silence. A simple poem might read, "Under falling leaves, a quiet mind remains still. Autumn's breath is peace." Each brushstroke was a meditation, a chance to align breath, hand, and mind. It was believed that a person's spirit could be seen in their calligraphy, the flow of the ink capturing the calm or turbulence within. Children of samurai families learned the values of humility and discipline early. A small story is often shared of a child who spent each morning bowing to the household elders, tending to small chores, and practicing with a small wooden sword in the garden under the watchful eye of a parent. On one occasion, the child stood before a bamboo stalk, practicing a single focused strike repeatedly, learning not to rush, not to force, but to move with the breath until the strike was true. Respect extended beyond the household. Farmers, merchants, and artisans were regarded with appreciation for the roles they played in sustaining the community. Samurai were taught to bow deeply when receiving goods, to offer thanks for the rice they were given, the clothing they wore, and the tools they used. This respect formed a quiet network of gratitude that connected each life to another, weaving a fabric of trust and community. Armor was carefully maintained, each plate checked, cords replaced as needed, the surface polished until it caught the light of the lanterns. These tasks were performed in silence, sometimes with the soft sound of water in a nearby basin, the rustle of cloth as it wiped the metal, the hush of breath, steady and calm. Preparing armor was an act of respect for oneself, for the ancestors, and for the life they protected. Before meals, it was common to bow quietly, to thank the earth, the farmers, and the hands that prepared the food. Meals themselves were simple: warm rice, pickled vegetables, sometimes fish or soup. Each bite was taken with mindfulness, savoring the textures, the warmth, the gentle flavors that spoke of the season. Samurai also practiced meditation in the stillness of dawn or dusk, seated with a straight spine, eyes half closed, breathing slow and steady. Thoughts came and went like drifting clouds, the mind quieting, the spirit finding its calm. This practice prepared them for moments of action, teaching them to meet fear or challenge with a clear, steady mind. As the night holds its quiet, let these stories of samurai life continue to drift softly, reminding that strength is not always loud, that courage is often quiet, and that true honor lives in the gentle acts of daily life. Let the breath remain slow and steady, like the calm steps of a samurai walking a forest path at dawn, the rustle of leaves, the hush of the world before the birds begin their morning songs. Rest now, wrapped in the quiet of these stories, in the comfort of knowing that even in the smallest actions, there is dignity, and in each moment of rest, there is renewal.